Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yvonne Mason, and this is All Things Books and Publishing. As you know, we do a podcast every week. My usual co host, Mary Brotherton, is still on vacation. So, once again, I have my friend, co author, co host,
Cohort in crime.
partner in crime, back with me today. And as you all know, we do not do a scripted show. It's never been my MO to do a scripted show. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is when you do a scripted show, people don't relax. Andrea and I have been doing this for a long, long time, so we just go where it takes us. First thing we want to talk about is Andrea's journey. Because for those of you who are new to this business, and we've talked about this before, but we're going to keep talking about it until it makes sense or sinks in or you understand it. She and I were with a group of 7 to 10 of us that broke this ceiling of self-published authors are not worthy. We are indie authors, and we got ourselves out there through hook by crook, whatever means necessary, and have stayed out there for 20 years. We have paved the way for you young ones who don't understand what we did to get you here. So let me tell you something. You're not doing anything new. We've been there, we've done that. We got you here. So before you get on a high and mighty high horse of how this is the way things are done, pay attention to this podcast.
And we paid the price.
Oh, dearly, we
We
paid.
were attacked. I've had hate threads started about me. I've on forums. I mean, we've discussed that before. One guy got on there and I shocked everybody by going on there and saying, "Hey, I don't understand why all of you hate me so badly, but I'm here to tell you I'm not as bad as you think I am." 90% of the people on the site came and said, "Yeah, I had no idea who you were. The fact that you came and answered this post like this says a lot about your character." And even the guy that started the thread was like, "Oh, yeah, now I feel kind of bad because I didn't know anything about you except what I heard." So there's what we endured.
Yeah, and you have
All at the hands of traditionally published authors, I might add.
so understand, ladies and gentlemen, your reputation is what other people think about you, but your character and integrity are who you are. And we have been very loyal to our readers, even to our critics, because our critics help pay our bills. And we'll get into that in a minute. We're loyal to each other. We don't backstab each other. We don't run each other down. We promote each other. We take care of each other because the bottom line is this: we are the core of this business. And if you say, "Oh, well, I can write a book. I can do." Yeah, you can write a book. That's the easy part. But what you don't understand is when, and I know you do every day. I can publish your book. I can do book covers for you. I can do this. I can do that. You need beta readers. You need that. This costs you money. Trust me, and it's not cheap.
And promotion costs money. What you do for free, constantly posting about us and tagging us, believe me, I am the queen of using anything to get names out there, to try to promote, but singularly, it's difficult. You
Yep.
have taken that to a new level because now you are a publisher and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing what costs big time bucks for people to have to pay to do.
And
So that's another thing you do.
I just want to beat up on Reddit here for a minute. The other day I went on Reddit, I set up our account, and I started putting our stuff up there. They banned me because they said it was spam. So read it. Guess what? I'm going to set up a new account. And if you ban me again, we will blast you all over the place. I am a
Absolutely.
legitimate I'm a legitimate person. I have a legitimate business and I promote my authors. So understand this, Reddit. We're coming for you. If
Oh,
I can
yeah.
take an entire county, I can take on you.
Oh, did I tell you that Wikipedia kicked my page off? Did I tell you that?
No.
Yes,
Why?
Wikipedia kicked my page off and said that it was this page, something, I can't remember the exact words. This was probably 10, 12 years ago that they did it. Shortly when they switched over and tried to be more respectable, whatever, said that most likely author started her own page. I messaged, and I doubt anybody even saw it or paid any attention, but I messaged them and I said, excuse me, anyone who knows me knows that I am a techno moron. I don't know the first thing about coding, putting in lines, data. I don't know anything about any of that. I couldn't start a Wikipedia page if you paid me. I don't know how to do that. A reporter from the Associated Press who interviewed me back in the day was so impressed with me. She started, she put up my Wikipedia page for me.
So
And
guess
of course, I cried for days after I saw, because back in the day, I mean, it was something to be on Wikipedia. Now everything's on Wikipedia, but back in the day, that meant something. But yeah, Wikipedia kicked me off.
so understand this, ladies and gentlemen. We don't go quietly into that dark night. So read it, maybe even Wikipedia, just because we can. I looked this morning on my YouTube channel, and this is going live now on YouTube. On the YouTube channel, last week we had 2,383 views. 228,000 people watched the YouTube. A total of 480 minutes. We have 6 new subscribers. So, whether you guys believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, this podcast goes on Spotify, it is on iTunes, it is on Amazon Music, it is on YouTube, it is on our webpage, it is on all of our Facebook pages. It is on Midnight Publishing. It is on Off the Chain, which is running live now. It is on Indie Authors. It is on my page. Andrea will put it up on everything on her page. Then we post the links up on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, one I can't remember, but I have it bookmarked, Blue Sky, Tumblr, sometimes Pinterest. So read it. Guess what? We're coming for you because we can. This
Yeah,
is
because you are legit. You are so legit. And I keep saying this, everybody laughs about it. And I noticed Mary laughed about it too, but I'm serious. I am not going to be happy. I am going to continue to tag you in every single thing I do, because when I tag on my Instagram, it automatically goes to Threads. And then I go to Facebook and I'll make sure that you're tagged there. And if it's something having to do with Crowhaven Chapel, which you're getting ready to publish, then I'll go to my Crowhaven Chapel page and go there and post about it. And then I'll go to TikTok and post about it. I am not going to be happy until I have to say, thank God I signed with Yvonne when I did, because I swear now she doesn't even have time to take a bathroom break. She's so busy. And she's turning authors away left and right because she just doesn't have the time. She's got to hire a staff. That's when I'm going to be happy.
Andrea has big dreams. And we have new authors, ladies and gentlemen. I got one the other day, my cousin, and this I have a lot of respect for my cousin because she's very smart. She has a lot of common sense, and she sent me a message and said, I have a book that I wrote. Would you look at it? She didn't ask me to publish it. She didn't ask me to do anything but read it. I said, absolutely. Well, she sent me the book, and as I'm reading her story, it's memoir slash fiction, my heart is breaking because she's an empath. And as a child, her mother, because she was afraid of it, tried to squash that. And in the book, it talks about an incident where her father went and talked to the minister of the church they attended, where he was a deacon, and the minister told him that her gift was of the devil and he needed to get it out of her. So I messaged her and I said, I am so, so, so sorry that you had to live through that. I said, Mother was an empath. I am an empath. All of my children are empaths. And now I find out we're getting it from both sides, my mother's side and my dad's side, because this cousin is on my father's side. So I can't wait to get this book out there. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing that God creates is evil. Nothing. It's how we choose to use it that makes it evil. Being an empath, and Andrea will tell you because she's one too, being an empath is tiring. It is very exhausting because
And it's a lot of times baneful. I,
very,
I lost a job once because I knew someone was going to say something about me, and I went to my boss and said, "What did this person say?" What did the boss say to me? Well, if you didn't do anything wrong, you wouldn't be asking why this or if this person even said anything about you. No, I didn't do anything wrong. I just knew that the person was going to cause me a problem.
right.
I lost a friend over being an empath because I 3 days it took me. I walked by the phone for 3 days. This was back when we had a landline. I walked by the phone for 3 days and just had to turn my head because I wanted to pick up the phone and call her. And when I finally did, I got her on the phone and I said, I have to tell you something. I had this dream 3 days ago that your husband's sister was killed by her husband. She dropped the phone, dropped the receiver. And when she picked it up, I heard her call her husband. And she said, Andrea had a dream about your sister. And I laid the dream out from beginning to end, even him going to the cops and giving them false information saying that she killed herself, trying to get her jewelry from the hospital so he could pawn it. I mean, everything. I would call her and talk to her a couple of times after that. And every time I did, it was, are you calling to tell me something bad again? And I lost her friendship over that because she didn't want to talk to me anymore because she was afraid that I was going to tell her something bad. So tell your cousin, I am right there with her, sister. I know exactly what being an empath can get you.
And Andrea's right. My mother used to say she wished that she didn't have the gift. And I'd say,
I
well,
always
mother,
said, where's the return desk? If this is a gift, where's the return desk? Where's the exchange desk?
we can't return it.
No,
It's part of who we are. And we have to accept it. And we have to understand it. And I've told my children to embrace it. My mother used to say, I wish I didn't feel this way. Well, I'm sorry, mother. It's part of who we are. So if you're an empath, understand you're not alone. Do not be ashamed of your gift and do not try to squelch it because when you try to deny it and squelch it, it only makes it worse. You have to learn how to build up the walls when you're in a crowd. When I walk in a room, I pick up the energy of everybody in the room. It doesn't matter. If I'm in a crowd of people, I pick up all the energy. I get home and I'm exhausted.
yes, yes. I put up a wall. I don't
I
leave
have
my house without putting up a wall because the final straw for me was a long time ago. I was sitting in my office and one of my coworkers walked by and I looked at her and I thought, she left her husband. She's getting a divorce. And so always hoping, another thing that Yvonne and I will both tell you being empaths, we always hope we're wrong. We always
absolutely.
we always hope we're wrong. So I looked at her and I said, "Hey, how you doing today?" And she said, "Oh, not too good. I kicked my husband out last night. We're getting a divorce." I sat in my office and cried for the rest of the day. Now, anybody who thinks that's cool, let me tell you, it's not.
It is
Hollywood,
not.
makes it seem like it's so awesome. And no, it is not. Let me tell you, it is not. So tell your cousin that she is loved. She is not alone. And she's got the two of us at the
Absolutely.
very least. At the very least.
And when I was younger, I would tell my mother, "Mother, people make me tired." And that was before I fully understood why people make me tired.
It's draining. It's
It's very
draining.
draining, extremely draining. So understand that as empaths, we have to embrace it, and we have to accept it, and we have to deal with it, good, bad, or indifferent. It's who we are. We cannot fight it because that makes us even more tired.
Oh,
So
yeah.
let's talk about, as I said, Andrea's been around a long time. And like Andrea, she and I move our characters around in our books because they make us. Andrea started her journey right sending short stories to an online magazine, correct? Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yes, online websites that would offer places if you wanted to submit your poetry, you could. And these were just individuals; these weren't anything big. And then as I started getting traction, then I started submitting to online magazines.
And for a while, she had her own,
Yes, yes,
which
I had someone the other day contact me about Twisted Dreams and said, "Where can I get past issues?" I'm like, "They're still up on Lulu."
just go get them. So
Yeah.
what she did is there was a book she wrote called "Fallen from Grace, Found in Shadow," and I've republished all of her old books, so they're out there. They're on Amazon, and you need to go get them because her books follow a thread, and while the characters may change, they follow that same thread. And Andrea, tell the people what that thread is and why you write the way you write.
For me, and a lot of people do this. I'm dealing with someone right now that does this. And I keep trying to tell him this isn't what you do. Oh, I got distracted and I went off onto this whole nother other thing here now in within the book. And I'm like, no, you take that and you segue that into another book, you write a book too. I'll pick up where I've left off in a book because sometimes you'll read a book and it's like, well, how come this? What's this? This didn't happen. So you just take that and you move it into another story. A lot of people think that you have to cram everything into one book. You don't. The One of the first trilogies that I ever wrote was 3 books, and that
Mm-hmm.
was my Hounds of Knockmasheehan pirate trilogy. That was 3 books because I had unfinished ideas, threads that I went off on in the book and didn't finish. So you just take it to another book. Now, you don't have to write 15 or 20 books. At some point, you have to wrap it up. But you wrap it up, leaving people happy that they read it and satisfied.
And then you introduce new characters in a new book. Now,
Yes, to support your old character, and then you explain how they got there. And
for okay, I'm going to use our example. Many years ago in a faraway land, I emailed Andrea one day and I said, "Let's do something. Let's put a book together from two perspectives. We have two main characters. She writes her character from her perspective. I write my character from my perspective, and they came together like a glove. The first book in that trilogy was When Fates Collide, and her character was an interesting character because she was totally opposite of my character. My character was a bounty hunter. She was a rebel. She didn't take no for an answer. She always went after her person and got him. Well, when Andrea segued her character in there, her character's name was Hope Harrington. Well, Hope Harrington was somebody that my character was supposed to pick up. Only it was the wrong Hope Harrington. So these two, and her Hope Harrington is a little secretary that afraid of her shadow, never got out of her own way, was afraid of everything, and she comes on as Alex's partner because there's an underside of Hope that starts to come out. So we put this little book together and we got it out there, and then we did Mardi Gras Bound. By then, I had already published The Pink Canary, which is where I introduced my three drag queens. And if you haven't read The Pink Canary, you need to before you read these. So then the drag queens decide they want to come play with Hope and Alex. And I'm going to tell you, I was when you would send your part and I would read and start doing my part of that book, it was like, are these words really coming out of our mouths? Because it was so funny.
Oh, it was. We warned people, have a bathroom close by before you read.
Some of the dialogue that Hope has with Tweedledum and Tweedledee, two good old boys in the bayou, you don't you see that her character has developed and grown. And Andrew will tell you, for a character to continually be in a book, you have to develop those characters. They have to grow. They can't be stagnant.
Right.
And Hope's getting a backbone in Mardi Gras Bound. She gets mouthy. Well, by the time we get to Arm Candy, Hope has completely come out of her coryllis and become a butterfly with iron wings.
Oh, yeah. And that was all because of Alex.
Yeah, Alex takes no prisoners. Alex doesn't care.
And Hope picked up on that and just ran with it.
She did. So, ladies and gentlemen, you need to read those three books: When Fates Collide, Mardi Gras Bound, Arm Candy, and The Pink Canary, because the three queens show up in Murder in the Village, which is this last book we released, and in between Murder in the Village is Shady Rest. So in Duct Tape, Tarp, and a Shovel, the three new characters, and it's like Andrew's talking about, you have to constantly introduce new characters. The three new characters show up in Duct Tape, Tarp, and a Shovel. And this is what Andrea does in her books. She finalized, and it broke my heart, she killed off her hero in Fallen from Grace and Found in Shadow. Because if you run the thread of the book, she's not happy being without her mate.
Right.
Everything that she had worked toward, it's no longer enough. So when she kills this character off, there's an introduction of new characters for another book.
And a reason and how they knew her,
Right.
why they're there. See, that's what's important. And because a lot of times movies will do this. If you watch movies, they'll introduce new characters and then they don't give any explanation of who they are or what they're doing. It's just, oh, yeah, by the way, here they are. And that has always driven me crazy. So I make sure that my characters have a reason for being in a book. They were either in the shadows in the other books and you just didn't see them. Maybe one was a bartender, maybe one was a dancer, something. I always have a way that they can tie in. And it's really not that difficult.
No.
And it's like I said, if your brain is going, and I've told people this, and I don't know if anybody else does it, but if your brain is coming up with a new story while you're writing, take a break, write that down, put it off to the side, and then introduce it somehow later, even if you have to put it in another book.
And the idea ladies and gentlemen, is like interest. It keeps those creative juices flowing. And I'm going to interject something, and I could be wrong, but I kind of think not. We just released Welcome to Crowhaven Chapel. And again, this is an outreach to the goth community about faith and knowing God and knowing that God sees the inner man as opposed to the outer man. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say if you read Andrea's books, there is a thread, and that thread is a thread of faith and a thread of a belief in a higher power, even though she's talking about vampires and creatures of the night. But there is that thread. So it stood to reason that she would write Welcome to Crowhaven Chapel. Number one, she's in that community. Number two, she's seen the rejections. She's traveled that journey. But that was the next step. Would that be a fair statement?
Oh, that's absolutely. That's more than fair because even as a minister, I've had people come. I posed, and you and I discussed this. I posed a question about if you had a choice when the rapture happens, would you stay and try to save souls for the Lord, or would you go ahead and just go up and take your reward, and if that's where you're headed? And I said, for my part, I would choose to stay. I said, I've already told the Lord when the rapture comes, if you want me here, I'll stay. And I have no illusions about what the world is going to be like. Think zombie apocalypse, Mad Max, cannibalism, whatever you can think of. The world is going to be the pit of hell. I have no illusions. I had someone come on my church thread and jump on me and tell me how ridiculous I am. My attitude is ridiculous. My question is stupid. And this was someone from the secular Christian community. So, Welcome to Crowhaven Chapel is written, it's stylized stories. You know, I'm not writing all about me, it's stylized stories to represent things I have been through personally, things that have personally been said to me, and what I have experienced even as a minister. So, absolutely, absolutely. I write from a place of faith, which some people just can't get to.
Well, and because, and again, those of you that know me know that I just call it like it is. I as my daughter says, we're not Willy Wonka. We don't sugarcoat anything. There is an and has been for many many years the attitude that there is a outline, a set in stone outline of how to reach people. That is not true. You don't reach people on your standard because I guarantee you that your standard is either lower or higher than that person you're trying to reach. You have to be willing to reach that person where they are in their life and be accepting of them where they are in their life without judgment. Because I was talking to Peggy Engler, my other author and friend, and we were discussing this. And I told her that what happened to you, and she said, mm-mm, we are not to judge. That is not our job.
No, and I always tell people, you think you can do God's job? If I ever meet you, remind me not to stand too close to you because I don't want to be hit by the bolt of lightning because of your arrogance.
There you go. Because we are not God. We know in the universe that is God, we know nothing. Nothing.
And I've told people, if you think you can do God's job, I would pay to see that. I
Oh,
would pay good
I
money
would
to see
I would
these
sell
people
the
think,
tickets.
yes, I would pay to see these people think they could do God's job for 1 minute, let alone the rest of their lives.
Can't do it.
Mm-mm.
You're not smart enough. I'm not smart enough. She's not smart enough. None of
Yeah.
us are smart enough to do God's job. Because if we were, there would have been no need for God to create us. We would have been self created.
Right.
That
And I
is
tell people
frightening.
all the time, Jesus hung out with hookers, lepers. He was on the cross dying and was ministering to the two thieves on the cross.
There you go.
And I
So,
tell people all the time, I don't have a church. I have my YouTube channel. And I had the best compliment from someone the other day who came on Crowhaven Chapel on YouTube and said, "This is my new church."
so, ladies and gentlemen, before you judge, understand you don't have that right.
No,
You don't have that privilege. Your job is just to plant a seed, and that's what Andrea is doing. So that's going to segue into something you and I were talking about before the show. Now, we're going from serious to funny because that's how we roll. Andrea says she's going to get us t-shirts. This is how we roll.
seriously. Yvonne and Andy since 2005.
There you go. So let me tell you what happened. We're going to jump back to Murder in the Village. Now, most of you know that Murder in the Village is fictional, but because all fic- all art is based on real life, art imitates life. So there is a person in the village who, for lack of a better description, has no self-esteem, is uneducated in the ways of the world, in the ways of people, and the ways of academia, has no self-confidence, and is jealous of anybody else that is. Instead of going out and making herself better for herself, I hear people say, well, I lost weight for my husband. Well, honey, if you lost weight for your husband, then it ain't going to stay off. Or I got my hair cut for my wife, or I did this for this. No, you do things for yourself. For yourself. So I found out the other day two things. Number one, this woman is the wife of our current HOA president. So now she's going around in the village and telling everybody that she is the first lady. First lady of what? I mean, seriously, first lady of what? Honey, it's not a 4-year term. Trust me. It's not, your husband is going to be out at the end of the year, one way or the other. You don't live in a White House, you live in a mobile home park, and you create chaos everywhere you go. Second of all, she and I had a mutual friend, and I love this mutual friend to death because she tried her hardest to stay, as we say in the political realm, Switzerland, because Switzerland never goes one way or the other. They are mutual. Who knows what they're doing in the background, but for the public, they are mutual. So this mutual friend would never tell my other friend and I anything that this woman said about us because she's got that much class. So the first lady, and I use that word jokingly, proceeds to tell this mutual friend when she told her she was coming over to my other friend's house, oh, so you're going to go see the lesbians. Now, I have friends who are lesbians. Some of them live in the village. Number one, be careful what names you call someone other than an idiot because she meets that criteria. And be careful that it doesn't get back to the person you're saying it about. Because, like I told Andrea before the show, even though I killed her off in the first book, I am bringing her back to life and killing her off again, and I am going to use everything that she said against her in the book. That's how we roll.
That's how we roll, which you can do because anything that anyone says is public.
Yeah, it's public knowledge. It just like I think we discussed this last week when a character in the book or a gentleman in the village took a microphone and on a public forum said, "My name is not Dante." He puts himself in Murder in the Village. The three reviews that were written that were less than kind, they put themselves in the book. So if you don't want it in any of my books or in any of Andrea's books, taste your words before you speak them.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
Andrea?
Oh, my book, Hell's Bells, the dark vampiric comedy that you published, that was about this one little hag that I had constant problems with. Now, put that out there. Whichever one of you little hags back in the day I used to have problems with, see if you can figure out which one of you it is. But that's what's going to happen. And we can kill you off as many times as we want, bring you back in another book. We can do whatever we need to do, and we will.
Of course we will. You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because art imitates life.
It really does. It really does. And anything, it's like I always tell people, if you don't want to end up in one of my books, you can end up in one of my books in one of two ways. You can do something to hurt me, and I'll find a way to put it in a book, such as Crowhaven Chapel is my personal experiences.
Right.
Or you can be somebody awesome, and I'll put you in one of my books.
One of the guys in the village read Murder in the Village, and he went to this friend who's Switzerland, and he said, "I wasn't in the book." And this friend of mine said, "But she likes you."
Right,
That,
it's because you didn't do something right, nor did you do something wrong.
so I asked my other friend. I said, "Does he want to be in the? I'll put him in the book." I have people I don't even know saying, "Yvonne, we want to be in the book." You got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, like Andrea, you're in my books one or two ways. Either I'm going to kill you off because I don't rock orange, or I'm going to make you one of the heroes because you need to be. And because you have a character within your personal self that goes with the storyline. Right, Andrea?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It Entangled Minds. I wrote that book forever and a day ago. When I published that book, my oldest daughter called me and said, "Mom, this book's about me." I said, "Yeah, it is. It is." She said, "But I didn't do a lot of that stuff." I said, "No, that's why art imitates life." But the storyline was about a teenager who makes very bad decisions, has a child out of wedlock, refuses to take care of that child, and that snowball from hell keeps rolling. And I know that Andrea has done the same thing. Hell's Bells, when I got that book, I'm thinking, you got to make that book longer because that book is hysterical.
Yeah, I had so much fun writing it because it was like everything I wanted to do in real life there, I just did it in the book.
Because we don't rock orange, because you see, to us, black is a color.
Yes,
And that's another thing we both get beat up for a lot is our choice of what we wear. Look, when I was a little girl, and I don't know about you, Andrea, but when I was a little girl and my mother dressed me in frills and lace, I hated it.
oh, me too. My mother always said, you never would wear a dress. You wanted to wear jean shorts and boy t shirts all the time. I'm like, yep.
It's part of who we are. Now we say it's part of our brand, and it is part of our brand.
Well, I saw the best thing, and I had it for a while. I'm going to see if I can find it again. I don't know who wrote it, but it was awesome. It was a like a black lace like frame. It looked like it had like the hair around it from Memento Mori, the old fashioned grave stuff. And it said, if you can dress like that and not be going to yoga, I can dress like this and not be going to a funeral.
There you go. And then I like the one where it says, "You're dressed in black. Whose funeral are you going to?" And the response is, "I haven't decided yet.
Yes,
Depends on who we kill off in the book."
exactly. Exactly. Or sometimes I'll tell people that you going to a funeral soon.
Yeah, very soon. Could be yours. Who knows? So I want to talk about again. This is all on her journey because she has done goth. She has done Crowhaven Chapel, but Andrea, you did a little book called Murder at.
Saxon Grove.
There you go. She's done so many I can't keep up. Okay, let's talk about that book because we want to get some traction for it. Why did you write it? What it is about, and are there going to be more?
Yes, you're getting my next murder mystery when I write it. But Murder in Saxon Grove is a taste. It's kind of like I like to give people tastes of what I write. So that way, because I have heard from since I started writing back in 2005, is how far back this goes. And I'm sure you've heard the same thing. Well, I hate buying a book, spending money on a book, and then I hate it and it's a waste of my money. Okay, well, you know what? I give you a way out of that, which is why my ebooks should be like the best selling books ever because they're all free. I give you a taste. If
Right,
you like the ebook, the print book is written in the same style. So chances are you already know what you're getting.
right,
You should like it. Just like I did the two for lunch story, so people will know whether or not before somebody goes out and gets a hardback of Welcome to Crowhaven Chapel, they're going to know, okay, well, I liked Two for Lunch. That was a pretty cool story. So the rest of the book is written exactly the same way. So you'll know. And I have my Murder, Mystery, and Mayhem is the name of the collection. And it's an Archibald Limmer, which is my alternate Victorian middle aged detective version of me. It's all mini mysteries, just a couple of pages. And it's a lot of people talk about how fun it is to try to solve a mystery with just those couple of little pages. Well, Murder in Saxon Grove was the first one I ever wrote. And it was longer than anything else that was in the book. So
right.
I decided to make it standalone. But I'm currently working on the next mystery book, which is going to go to you. And then I've got my contract killer book that I'm working on, and that's going to go to you too, of course. And then whenever I write another Crowhaven Chapel book, all of my books from now on are going to you anyway. So anything I write is going to you. So in the future, at some point, you'll be getting my contract killer book, which is almost done. I just have to do a few tweaks here and there. You'll get the next murder mystery book and then any Crowhaven Chapel stuff.
See, and this is how we roll. And I have to tell you, I speaking of that, there was a review for Sherry and Richards Under the Dragon's Eye, and it was a beautiful review. And you know, when I do covers, the covers start the story, front and back.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the review, the reviewer said, "I want another book. When is the sequel coming out?" Because Sherry, like us, left Easter eggs in her book. Well, she messaged me yesterday and she said, the second book is going to be called Shadow of the Dragon's Eye.
Oh, cool.
So I am so proud of her. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of all of the authors that have taken their craft and owned it because now they can. And when I say that, ladies and gentlemen, number one, they're not under any pressure. I get the books when I get the books. I have free reign unless they're just married to their cover, and I try to convince them sometimes this is not going to work for you, and this is why. I have the freedom to send them covers and say, "What do you think? How do you feel about this?" They have the freedom to take as long as they want to write because we do the marketing for them. And you say, "Yeah, but I bet you charge." No, there is no, there's no gotcha either.
No,
They
that's
get
what
it
is so
free.
amazing about Midnight Publishing is that everything you do is included.
Yes, everything.
Try to
Because,
get anybody else to do that. There's
oh,
always a strings attached, a caveat, and oh, that's not included. No, Midnight Publishing is the total package from beginning to end, which is
Kindle, hardcover,
getting
paperback,
all of my future books.
it, it, and if you're saying, well, why is some of the books not on Audible? This is why. In order, I mean, not Audible, but hard copy. In order for them to be in hardback, they have to be 79 pages or longer. And it doesn't matter if it's an extra blank page or a bio page, as long as they're 79 pages or longer, I can put them in hardback. And many times, what I do, just because I can, I create a whole new cover for the hardback just to make it different. It's the same theme, but it's a different cover. We
Yes,
did that with Sundown.
yes.
And that's something we have not talked about. Let's talk about Sundown of Vampire's Reprieve because, again, ladies and gentlemen, it's that same general thread of her characters that you will see throughout all of her books. And Sundown is really interesting and explain to the folks why.
Well, it picks up and goes more into the happenings behind the nightclub. And then I throw in a little bit of, I'll just say, throw in a little bit of a curse that had been preordained many, 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 many years before the end of the book. And I tie it all in together and explain why the book ends the way it does. Because a lot of people will read it and they'll be like, well, this is so much different than the first one. But it is, but it isn't. It all ties in and makes sense and fits in.
And that's why you need to read her books because they all have the same thread. Now, you ask, well, does Andrea's books have happily ever after? No, they don't. They do not. Be-
Never.
because her vampires, like humans, at one time were human. You're not born a vampire.
Right.
You were created. So you have a, depending on, in our story world, depending on at what age you are changed, depends on how many human elements remain in your psychic. So her vampires have human emotions, they have human thoughts, they have regret, they even have a desire to die.
Yeah, because they never did. All of my characters are tragic. My favorite thing growing up was Greek mythology.
Yep.
I'm not happy with anything unless everybody dies. So in my books, everybody dies, everybody suffers. You can always tell who my favorite character is in a book because I'll make them suffer more than anybody else in the book. And everybody's like, you're twisted and you're weird. And I'm like, yeah, but that's just how I am.
But and she's right. In Greek mythology, the hero dies. Think about
Everybody dies.
Archimedes.
Everything's terrible and horrible and the end of the world and
Think about Archimedes. Think about Achilles. Think about
Apollo and Daphne.
yeah, they all died
Yeah,
because
Cupid and Psyche. I mean, how sad that was. Um, Argus, um, when Apollo and Diana took on the seven daughters and the seven sons,
Yep.
and Clytie, who had unrequited love and watched Apollo's chariot go through the sky every day. So in pity, the gods turned her into a sunflower. I mean,
And
that's
this
my world.
and the reason for that, ladies and gentlemen, as opposed to romance, which Andrea writes but in a dark and twisted vein, there is not happily ever after, because life is not happily ever after. Tragedy occurs, illness occurs, death occurs, betrayal occurs. Life happens. So, what Andrea does in her books is she takes those elements and puts them in a vampiric world, which, why it may not make the vampires lovable, it makes them more human. Because in Fallen from Grace, Found in Shadow, your female hero was vicious for a reason.
Oh yeah, Forain was she'd had enough.
Yeah,
She was finally happy, and then it was all taken away from her, and that was it. She was done.
she's done. So she killed everybody and let God sort it out. And in the
Yes,
end, she said, "I'm done. I've completed my job,"
yes. And then her friends, her vampiric friends, showing the human side, were left to pick up the pieces.
and move on to the next story. And that is how the second story came,
Right. And then they got theirs too because they were a little bit too big for their britches.
as happens in real life.
Yes.
So understand, if you're reading Andrea's books, read them with an open mind.
Yeah,
Because
because you're not going to get the Vampire Diaries. You're not going to get, oh, what was the TV show?
Buffy, no, not Buffy,
No,
Twilight.
the
Twilight.
one with Sookie Stackhouse or whatever her name was. I didn't watch any of those because I can't do romance.
Vampires do not glitter.
Yeah, vampires don't glitter, so it's not Twilight. It's not the Sookie Stackhouse stuff. It's not the Vampire Diaries or whatever they were. I didn't watch any of those because it's just not my thing. I don't want vampires waltzing and walking together under the moonlight unless one of them's going to die.
So understand, when you read her books, her characters die. And yeah, you might get mad for a minute, but again, read books with an open mind, because her books not only tell stories, they teach life lessons. And that is, life happens. And it's not always pretty, but life is just life. It's how we make it. It's what we do with it. And this is what she talks about and teaches in her books. So some people say Andrea's a bit hard to take. No, not really. You just got to understand the mechanisms of why she writes what she writes. If you're not into that sort of thing, and again, I say this at every podcast, you might not be into that sort of thing, and that's okay. But you know somebody that is.
Right.
The two in A Man of Two Worlds, those two books are interesting, and I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they're a bit graphic. But in those two books, there are life's lessons.
Morality. I try to bring, I a lot of people write to escape. I don't write to escape. I write what I know, what I think, what I feel, which has always been outside the normal realm.
Right.
So as you said, a lot of the stuff is
It's dark, but I guarantee you, if you read it with an open mind, you will understand the logic behind the storyline. The two is very graphic, and some people would say, what are you thinking? But you have to, again, read it with an open mind. There is a reason for that storyline. A Man of Two Worlds, that book teaches a lesson, and it is sad because every decision that is made in our lives, there are always consequences. Always.
And do you
And
know,
you
I
learn,
actually had someone from the gypsy community contact me and thank me. This was before I found out that I have gypsy ancestry. I
right?
actually had someone contact me and thank me for portraying gypsies in the book the way I did,
Yeah, they weren't,
not
they
making
weren't,
them out to be thieves and scumbags and making them out to be real people just trying to live. And like I said, that's more that empath thing. This was how I saw gypsies and how I just felt they were before I found out I have extensive gypsy history.
and that is A Man of Two Worlds. And
Yes.
when you read the book, you will understand the title. And when you read the two, you will understand the title. And again, the book covers start the story. So what I want y'all to do, and again, this might not be your genre, and that's okay. But I would venture to guess that you know someone, family, friends, frenemies, co-workers, acquaintances, that read that genre. It's not really a horror genre that she writes. It's not really a vampire genre she writes.
It's more of a supernatural, I guess you'd call it.
Supernatural, um, it's drama, and everybody dies, but it's real life. So I know you've got to go, and we got like 4 minutes left. So I want you to tell everybody she's on Facebook. She's on she's on Midnight Publishing. If you are not part of the Midnight Publishing group, please go join the group because that is where everything comes out of. Friend her on Facebook. And where else are you?
I am on Instagram. If you have an interest in what's going on in the Christian Goth community and my book, Welcome to Crowhaven Chapel, which is coming out, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. My new song, Give It Up, just dropped this morning. That's the segue into Welcome to Crowhaven Chapel, which is going to be released on the 15th, along with two separate soundtracks, 15
Nice.
minutes each. One for the Christian Goth Dark Ambient sect, and one for the Christian Goth Dance sect. I like to make sure everybody's represented.
There you go.
So that's where you can find me. I am all over the place,
I have,
especially Instagram and Facebook. I'm very active on both.
and then we're on, like I said, Blue Sky, YouTube, the website, midnightpublishing.org, the group page here. We are live on Off the Chain. We are live on YouTube. We are on Threads. We are on Instagram. We are on the one I can never remember. All you got to do is pull us up, pull me up, pull her up. Because when you see Midnight Publishing, you're going to see Andrea. That's just the way it is. Because the authors in this family are promoted on a daily basis. Every day I go on my page and highlight an author and then put it up on Midnight Publishing and on all the other media sites that we have. Read it. We're coming for you.
Yeah, and I just tagged you this morning on Instagram and Facebook. So
So there you go. So, sweetheart, go take care of what you got to take care of. I love you dearly.
love you too very, very much.
And we will do this again. Oh, and by the way, I did you see where I got an email from somebody that wants to come on the show as a guest?
Yes, I saw that. Told you.
It's
Told
exciting.
you.
It's exciting. Very exciting. And remember, Midnight Publishing charges zero. So if you want your book out there, we're here. The door is always open. The rocking chairs are always available. I love you, my sister.
I love you too, my sister. We'll do this again soon.
Till next time, till next Wednesday, this is Yvonne Mason and Andrea Dean Van Scoyoc saying, see you later.